Hey guys, how are you? As you can see, looking at this here, I fully support Duterte. And not only me, but I guess the majority of probably hundreds of thousands of foreigners or millions of foreigners here in the Philippines, we all support Duterte, okay? And so far he's been doing a great job in, I would say, 90% of his endeavors, but nobody is perfect. So here I am today, frankly frank. Tips for Duterte. That's what I call this show. Tips for Duterte. How to improve. Tips. Duterte. My association with Mr. Duterte started, I think, January last year, before the elections, before he became president. I was invited by a colleague, old colleague of Mr. Duterte, Attorney Dick. If you're watching there in Davao, I went to Attorney Dick's house. He was with Mr. Duterte in Manila at the time, but he flew back and we had a good meeting, okay? Anyway, and I very quickly realized in January, long before the election, that Mr. Duterte was going to win this election. I went all the way from Mindanao, Davao, to Cebu, to Manila, and I realized along the way that the elites in Philippines, just like the elites in the US and in Europe, have lost total touch with reality, right? In Manila, I took a bet with the ambassador, ex-ambassador of the UK, that Duterte was going to win. He was like, "What? Are you insane?" You know. And we took a, "Hey, you still owe me a bottle of vodka, Bob." Remember that? You lost fair and square. Anyway, now, what advice do I have for Mr. Duterte? Let's begin with, I'm here in Mindanao, by the way. I believe in Duterte and I believe in the Philippines, and I set up my business here. I'm doing business. I'm investing here in the Philippines, in Mindanao, okay? Now, I think it's fair to say that the Filipino government owes us, people who show faith, who show trust, confidence, to put their money where their mouths are. Right here in Mindanao, you the Filipino government should think about investors like us, okay? Martial law. Now suddenly all over the world, martial law in Mindanao. Martial law in Mindanao. What the fuck? I mean, come on. I'm here in Mindanao. Look around. Do you see any goons falling out of the fucking trees? Do you see any do you hear any explosions? Do you hear any gunshots? No, it's very peaceful and quiet here. Mindanao is huge, almost 30 million people. It's bigger than many countries in the world. There are some problems. Like I explained before in another program about Abu Sayaf. Go and check it out. My program about Abu Sayaf. I show you the map. The islands near Indonesia, near Malaysia, that's where 99% of the attacks and problems take place. In Malaysia, in Indonesia, not in the island of Mindanao, or even, it's so big, you can almost call it a country, right? 99% of Mindanao island has no problems. The problems are these little islands, Basilan, Yukholo, and so on. There, Indonesia, Malaysia, please. Filipino government, please, Mr. Duterte, when you announce, don't include all of Mindanao, don't include us all into this thing, okay? You cannot just cover the whole map of Mindanao with one word. Specify, be intelligent about this. I know Mr. Duterte is probably the first really intelligent president the Philippines ever had. He understands the history of the Philippines. He knows what happened 100 years ago. Most Filipinos have no idea. They don't know they got massacred by the Americans, for example, by the millions. The Americans went around and shoot dead boys from the age of 10. If you're 10 years old, bullet in the head, boom. So Duterte understands that. So I don't understand. Look at the map. It's simple geography. I mean, Abu Sayaf invaded Bohol Island last month. 60 or 100 of them, the equal number that now invaded Marawi, 60 or 100 of them, invaded Bohol. Did the Philippine government declare martial law all over Bohol? We have martial law in Bohol? No. Why is that? Oh, because Bohol is a tourist destination. We cannot scare the world, right? But fuck Mindanao, Yeah, martial law everywhere. Fuck that. This is bullshit. Come on, wake up please. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Tip number 1. Don't cut off your own legs. Surgical, like a surgeon cutting out the cancer. It's only, you don't have to kill the whole body or shut down the whole body to cut out cancer. The cancer happens in a small part of the body. The problem in the Mindanao happens in a very small, tiny little part. Go there and cut it out. So why can't you, Duterte, why can't you cut out that cancer? This is now actually the real problem here in the Philippines right now. The tools, what tool do you use to cut out cancer? You need a razor sharp blade to get rid of these goddamn freedom fighters, or what the fuck they call themselves. They are fucking criminals, okay? They are criminals. To get rid of criminals, you need the right tools. What are the right tools? Well-trained, well-equipped, well-motivated, determined police force and army. First of all, the police force. Where is the intelligence? How can these people just operate? How can they go from their little shitty islands near Mindanao? How can they just sail up to Bohol by the hundreds? How can they operate in Marawi? Everybody knows what's going on. So where is the police intelligence, the army intelligence? What the hell is going on there? There is something seriously wrong. And when they arrive in Bohol, it takes weeks to get rid of a small group of criminals. The army, the police cannot even grab them not on their own little islands where they have friends and family and support. No, they're in Bohol, surrounded by strangers. The police and army are still powerless. There is something seriously wrong. And then the army dropped a goddamn bomb in Bohol. That is very irresponsible. Very irresponsible. I'm sorry. What about collateral damage? One mistake, that bomb could have landed anywhere. I don't care what people say. This kind of war is not. The Americans, yes, been teaching you people. Oh, drop bombs, whatever. That is not the way that any war is won. Look at any war. Vietnam, the Americans were involved. Vietnam, Korea, Afghanistan, Iraq. They got their fucking asses kicked because they imagine they can fight it from the air. Oh, we have the high tech. Ooh, we can send a missile flying down a hallway up a chimney, turn left into a fucking window. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Okay? You need real men with real weapons, with real training, with real right mindset, with real intelligence, real determination. You need the right people. Do that to get rid of these people who are advising you or whatever. I don't know what's going on there, but it's something really wrong there. I recommend, what is the size of this gang? Abu Sayaf and the Maute group, is it 500 men, 1,000? Let's say 2,000 or 5,000. What is the size of the United Bamboo Gang of Taiwan? Taiwan is about the same size as Mindanao, with the same population. 30 million people in an island. The United Bamboo Gang, the Zulian Ban of Taiwan, is probably 100,000 men. 100,000 men. A criminal organization. Do the Taiwanese government declare martial law all over Taiwan to fight 100,000 men? No, they cannot. They have to use the police, they have to use intelligence, the law to fight. Same in Hong Kong. The 14K gang is probably also 100,000 men operating in one city. 7 million people, 7 or 8 or 9, I don't even know what's the population. Nobody knows what's the population of Hong Kong, full of illegal immigrants and criminals, okay? This is only one of the gangs, the 14K. There are many others. They're all huge, much bigger than this Abu Sayaf in the fucking Maute group. So what the hell is going on? How can 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 criminals hold hostage a whole huge island like Mindanao, 30 million people are being impacted by one or 1,000 of criminals. That is not right. That is really not right. Something is wrong. So what is wrong? Like I mentioned, training. What kind of training? I have no idea what is going on with the police or the army. What kind of training are they getting? What kind of intelligence? What kind of help are they getting from the local population? The local population in that area in Marawi must be the ones in the forefront of this fight, because they're the ones being damaged by these criminal groups. Crime is the main problem. There is a culture of warlords in some Muslim areas in the Philippines. Warlord. Oh, I'm a warlord. The previous governments have done nothing to stop this. 10 years ago, a few years ago, one group massacred dozens of journalists, their supporters, men and women and children, going to vote in a local election. What was that case ever solved? No. So the culture of warlords are running rampant. That's Abu Sayaf is a criminal group. They're making millions and millions and millions and millions and millions from kidnapping people. Maute group seems to be exactly the same model. Making money, hand over fist, in collusion with corrupt local politicians. Now that you have a goddamn martial law that could arrest these fucking politicians and everybody involved there, fucking throw them in jail straight away. You don't need to and just keep them there until they talk. I mean, come on. This is too much. So, also the weapons of what I've noticed from the Philippine army is not good enough. You can't ride around in this shitty American Humvees or whatever they fucking use. It's coffins on wheels. And you cannot bring in the Russians either. The Russians don't know how to fight in the jungle, okay? What you need... Did you ever watch the movie Blood Diamond? These are the real boys, the South African mercenaries. South Africans will clean up this place in a short time. And the problem will be solved forever and a day. Don't be held hostage by a gang of criminals. And damaging millions and millions and millions of the international image of the Philippines. The livelihood of people like me who are depending on tourists. Now they have to read, oh, there is a martial law in Mindanao. What the fuck? Differentiate. What the fuck is Mindanao from those islands, Holo and Basilan and whatever? You got to differentiate that clearly. That is much closer to Indonesia. Come on. Basic geography, please. Please. You people are Filipinos. You are the government of the Philippines. You can't understand the map of the Philippines. And then Manila. Manila is a swamp. Like even Trump said about Washington. It's a swamp. We have to drain the swamp. What is in a swamp? Crocodiles, ugly monsters under the water in the mud. Manila is a swamp. Forget about federalism. The first step is take away power out of Manila. Take money out of Manila. I said before, my country is South Africa. We have 3 capital cities. One in the north, one in the middle, one in the south. I recommend this for the Philippines. One capital city can be in Manila. You keep one part of the government. For example, the legislature or whatever. One branch. Second capital city will be Cebu. You moved another branch to Cebu. Maybe the judicial. You separate the judges. You put them in the middle. Then in the south, here in Davao, here is the president. Here is the biggest part of the population, and money is in Davao. Most of the power of the Philippines should be here in Davao City. Now everything is in the swamp in Manila. How are you going to solve the problems of Mindanao like that? 3 capital cities. This is my biggest tip. Once you have that set up, Manila, Cebu, and Davao, 3 capital cities. Money, separate the corrupt government into 3 parts. Separate the budget into 3 parts. Immediately you're going to solve 90% of the problems of the Philippines right there. Boom. in one go. Forget about federalism. You just do that. 3 capital cities, boom, problem solved. And call the South African people. Those people know what they're doing. They're real professionals. The Americans were using South Africans and South African weapons in Iraq to get themselves out of trouble. The so-called MRAP American, it's a South African weapon. It's a South African armored car. And they hired 50,000 South Africans to come in there to protect the U.S. Army. The U.S. Army was, the U.S. South African mercenaries were protecting the U.S. Army. So that's the way to go. Stop wasting your money and your time. Forget about the Americans and the Russians. Just solve the problem and solve it quick. So we can all make money. We all want to see Philippines go like a rocket, straight up. Money. Boom, boom, boom. Vitamin M. Okay, come on. Duterte, please listen. We're right behind you, man. We are the first. You're the best thing that has happened here in the Philippines, not only the Philippines, in the whole of Asia. For this whole century, so far, the best thing that has happened in Asia was Duterte. So come on, we support you. Don't disappoint us, please, okay? All hail. Shut. Let's do it together, okay?